All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting head-scratching episode of Insane Disappearances. I got a pretty good one for you today, and this one is going to definitely knock your socks off because from what I have read in the findings of this person's disappearance and death, definitely fits the criteria in the missing 411 cases, pretty much put out there by, I don't want to say pretty much, but, put out there by our resident, bad boy, in the whole missing 411 thing, David Politis himself. So, let's get started, shall we? All right. Now, but the first thing I want to do, I want to kind of go over some things first about things that I kind of went through with my channel within the past couple of days and the things that I've been reading in the comment section and everything. I get a lot of comments from people that are positive. I get some that are negative. I get some that are just kind of, you don't really want to comment on because it's like I said before, I will never, while I have this channel, even after that or off channel, would ever say that you don't have a right to your own opinion. I will never say that because everybody does, including myself. So I really promote that on my channel. If you got something to say it. But sometimes things can get a little, and I have to say something respectfully, but tell you the truth. That's just what I'm all about. I'm all about telling you the truth, even if you don't believe it, because I've noticed that a lot of people, when they look at these things, these videos that people post on YouTube, I know a lot of them may just be fake news that are put out there by the government, but we got people who actually come forward with a lot of their information, things that they have experienced, especially when it comes to going into a national park. Now, everybody knows about the woman that I interviewed back in August of 2017 who actually went to Brown Mountain National Park, Brown Mountain lights and everything. You all know because you've seen the video. Okay, I've gotten a lot of feedback from people, and I think I've gotten over, I think I have almost or a little over 1,000 comments on that one video alone, the actual interview, and it's reached well over 63,000 views. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's more than that. I just stopped looking at the views because I know it's going to keep going, and so, but I do get some people who want to be trolls. I get people that want to be that come onto my channel being a believer in what she went through. And then I got some that want to judge. I got some that want to debunk everything dealing with the video footage that she posted. Well, that I posted in honor of her on my channel. Now, there are a lot of people that I have noticed who use their own logic and their own beliefs to actually debunk what she has went through. I, for one, believe her, or else I wouldn't have put her on my channel. Because that's not my channel is all about you coming forward and having a place to actually have a voice, for the public. If you know you went through something and you believe that you went through something without doubting it first or self-doubting anything, this is the place to come to because I am not going to judge you. I'm going to post it. I'm going to believe it because I do actually believe it. I'm not going to do it just for spite. I do it because I actually do believe it because of the fact that the things that happen to people in these national parks that really blow your mind in a lot of areas as far as belief and whatever else. It is actually happening. It's just that people tend to back away from something that is too strange for them to even want to believe, even though they know that it's real. They tend to say, oh, I don't believe it. Well, I think she's crazy. She's even making her dog nuts. Okay, first of all, let's think about this for a second. If the dog was not acting like something was out there, people will say, well, obviously there was nobody out there if the dog wasn't, whining or acting crazy or trying to pull away from her and go somewhere else. No, it's the only reason why her dog was not acting crazy is because there was nothing to fear. The beings that took her at that point and brought her to this other level were there to help her. And I feel like I have to say this live right here on my channel. These beings were there to help her. They were monitoring her. They were watching her. They even took it upon themselves to test her. And I mean by you hearing the sound of traffic, the sound of people talking in the background, the fact that water popped up in areas that wasn't even on the map, the fact that a footbridge popped up out of nowhere, in the same direction that she was going in. But when she, of course, when she was going in that direction, she didn't see it. But when she turned back to go back in the opposite direction, there it was, right there. It just appeared. Now, things were dematerializing out of nowhere. Or, no, not dematerializing, but materializing out of nowhere. Okay? That's because everything around her was just an illusion. Okay? We're talking about beings who have a technology that goes way beyond our own human comprehension. Okay? Now, our government may say they have that ability, and they probably do, because it was given to them by these beings that I like to call the darkness. Of course, everyone else calls them aliens or grays, or whatever the case may be. But these are interdimensional travelers, okay, that come here to do whatever. The dark ones are the ones that come here to maniacally, basically devour us or make us go nuts in some cases. They play with our heads and stuff like that. Now, the ones that are actually here to help us are the ones who do things in ways that we don't understand, because it is just a way of them testing us to see if we have the capability to ascertain the information that we need to know about. Like the fact that everything that we look at as folklore, everything that we look at as myth or fairy tale, they're all real, even if you don't want to believe it. We spend all our lives thinking that all these things are just fairy tales, just like that movie that came out about these little girls in England who actually took pictures of fairies, and it's an actual photo of these fairies right there. Now, was it real? I don't know, but it seemed real. I know there's a lot of talk about CGI and doctored photos, okay, but I do believe in some cases that it was real. But in some cases, I believe that it wasn't. But fairies are definitely real. The chupacabra is real. Bigfoot is real. Dogman is real. You name it, it's real. Okay, even the werewolf. I know the only time we've actually ever seen one is in a movie, like the very first movie that was premiered back in like the early 30s. I think 1934, I believe. The very first, it was called The Wolfman. And they came out with an updated, well, it wasn't an updated version, but it was a rendition, a reboot of the very first movie. And even the makeup and the costume was just like how it was back in the early 30s. But if you remember, in one of my opening intros, there was a picture of this upright walking dog-like creature with a long bushy tail, and a snout, walking in the middle of a street. And it was caught on camera by a CCTV camera. I probably mentioned it in my last video, but I'm mentioning it again because a lot of this stuff has connections. It has a lot to do with something else. Okay, now, people who actually come to my channel, look at her interview video, and then look at the footage that she gave to me to put on my channel. They have said that, oh, they believe her, and then there's ones that try to say, oh, she's nuts. There has been people that try to debunk everything that she's ever either talked about or showed on her video. Okay, I had one person who recently did that, who tried to debunk everything, in a like a little paragraph, not a paragraph, but in a little grid. Like she's, list one, such and such, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these lists of everything. Then she tried to say why, or why it wasn't. But you have to realize, if you weren't there to see what she actually saw, if you weren't there to hear what she heard, then how can you sit here and actually say that you either know why it is not real or it is real? I mean, if you believe her, you believe her. If you don't, you don't. Okay, that's a given. Okay, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to, bash you or anything like that. And I'm not here to post your name all on my channel just to say, okay, that's who this person was. I'm not going to do that because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get the truth out, whether you want to believe it or not. So when you actually have your experience, you're going to be like, wow, she was telling the truth. Or wow, he was telling the truth. So all I'm saying is, just because something don't seem real to you doesn't mean that it's not real. Okay, now I commented this person with a very long comment, but it was a very truthful comment, and I have actually posted this comment that I posted on my channel to other people that I'm friends with, some who are my big fans, and they agreed with every word that I said, and that's only because they realized that what I said was true. Okay, so you got ones who want to believe you. You got ones who want to sit up there and say, oh, it's not real because of this, or it's not real because of that. Now, I could go into it. You know, it's a pretty long one, but, you know, to kind of cut it short, this is what I said. First of all, with all due respect, I always start with that first because I'm a very respectful guy. If you haven't experienced what her and these people, or even the victims who have vanished, have seen or heard things to make you think that what she is saying isn't true, or have to realize that that is how they confuse us, that is why these cases have never been solved, because of the way they confuse people, because they know people are going to say what you are saying, you know, trying to debunk everything list by list. Basically what I was talking about. I also said that you are overthinking what is on her footage because you weren't there to see and hear what she saw. Plus, people tend to look for what they feel is happening in raw footage such as this. And when I said that, I mean, they try to basically they try to surmise what they feel is the reason why these things happen, or they try to come up with a logical reason why it happened. Nothing that happens in national parks is logical, other than the fact that you are actually camping or hiking or walking the trail or jogging. That is the only logical thing about it. Anything beyond that is illogical and beyond the physical. It is a non-physical situation. And I'm talking about wormholes that are invisible to the naked eye. You just seem to walk right into them. Unless you are visually capable of seeing something that could still say that that's what that is. Like a ripple within the environment itself. Like, say, if you're looking at the trees, right? And all of a sudden, you kind of see it ripple a little bit, you know, in certain areas. Or it may be like a thick haze right in front of you. Now, there was I mentioned this one time before in one of my videos where this older gentleman was walking a trail within a forest, and he came up to a certain spot that looked kind of weird to him, and he slowed down to a crawl, and he took one step forward, and his foot literally, well, the front end of his foot literally disappeared right before his very eyes as he took one step forward. And then when he realized what was happening, he stepped back, turned around, and ran in the opposite direction. There's even a story about a man who was in a forest, and he was on Coast to Coast AM one time. He was one of the, but I keep forgetting what they call it. I haven't listened to Coast AM in a while. I think they call it, it's like a Friday night calls. You know, I forgot the term that George Norrie used. But he said that he was in a national park, and he was jogging the trails. And he said all of a sudden he felt this immense amount of evil all around him, and he couldn't shake it. And he just like, wait a minute. He stopped. And he was like, am I really feeling this right now? Can't be what I'm feeling, but I'm actually feeling it. And the more he stood there trying to figure out what it was he was feeling, the more intense the feeling got. And darkness will eat you alive. That much I can tell you. And you will definitely feel it if they want you to feel it. And especially if it's within the physical plane. You're going to be like, holy crap. It's like a veil or like a thick blanket covering your body. You know? But it's going to overwhelm you to the point where you become actually frightened. And then you run like hell, which is exactly what he did. He kept running and kept running until he came into this open, grassy area surrounded by a ring of trees. And as he got out into the middle of this grassy area, he could still feel it behind him like it was trying to catch him. You know, he just kept running and running and running. And then at that point, that's when he felt it kind of go away. It's as if he was running too fast for it. Or it realized that it scared him. So he said, you know what? I did all I was supposed to do. I scared him like crazy. So now he's running away. So it just backed off. And he ran towards his car, took off, and never went back to that particular national park. Now, Anybody else that would hear that would probably say, "Oh, he was probably smoking something, or he was hallucinating, or he didn't know what he was feeling. So what he was probably feeling, he was probably just tired." And this, no, people try to find the most logical reason that they could think of in order for them to go to sleep at night. Because some people, even though they see that something weird is going on, they don't want to believe it because it goes outside of their norm, outside of their comfort zone, and it's just that simple. People are like that. I understand that. Okay, I think I was like that at some point until I really started to realize that everything that I actually saw with my own two eyes was actually true. Because the one thing I tell everybody on my channel, if you saw something with your own two eyes, it is actually real. Now, the one thing that would keep you from thinking that is your ego. Your ego causes you to actually discount everything that you actually heard or saw. Okay, it makes you doubt yourself. It makes you self-doubt yourself. And you question everything that you actually saw with your own two eyes. If you saw a ghost standing in front of you right now, you're gonna be like, "Wait, did I just see that? No, that can't be real. There's no such thing as ghosts." But yet you looking right at it. So how are you gonna say that there's no such thing as ghosts? I know a lot of people that do that. Okay, I was having a Super Bowl party in my house, this house right here, and I was standing in this general direction right over here in front of the walkway leading to the front door, and the silhouette and the inner being of a woman walked through the side wall of the front door, or near the front door, and stood there. She had on like a cream colored sweater. I could see the color of her hair. She had like neck length, like I think light brown hair or like reddish brown hair. It was bright colored. I could see the color of her skin, but I couldn't see her face. It was all a big blur. It was like looking at her through an out of focus lens. And I could see she was wearing some light blue jeans, but I saw all of that. I saw her entire silhouette, and it was a very hazy yet solid figure or form of a female. And she just stopped, stood there, looked right at me, and then she vanished with, right in front of my very eyes. Of course, I didn't tell nobody because I had people in my house, all my friends, so I was like, wow, I can't believe I actually saw that. Because if you are not looking for something and all of a sudden, bam, there it is, you can't help but say that you saw it. But when it comes to you thinking about it, you tend to be like, you know what, maybe I was just tired, or maybe I had too much beer, because I was drinking that night, but I still know what I saw. Okay, you can't discount what you saw just because you were drinking beer. Sometimes beer opens you up too in certain ways. What they say, when they say stuff like a drunk mind speaks the sober truth, it really does kind of enhance the brain just a little bit. Now, there's also another substance that does that, and that's called weed. But we're not going to get into that because that's a whole nother ball game. That's something that I don't do. But anyway, all I'm saying is, before you tend to judge someone just because you don't believe it, try to think about the fact that maybe there is something going on out here. But there is something going on. You just got to believe it, and it's just that simple. I know it's not simple for some people, but it is simple for me. If I see it with my own two eyes, that's going to make me believe that everything else that people don't believe in is actually real, like fairy tales and folklore stories, like the story about the man who was walking into the field away from his house, and the people that saw him was his two children, his wife, the mayor, and his brother-in-law coming down this road, a dirt road, in a horse-drawn carriage. And they literally saw this man walk into a field and vanish without a trace, and was never seen again. Over the next couple of days, his children actually heard him calling out for help, but they couldn't see him. So he was reaching out to them from another level, but that level was being blocked by this reality that is around us. We were born into this reality because this is a reality that they put in place for us to believe, so that we won't see what is beyond that. It's a very thick veil that blocks us from our true reality. Will we ever see that? I don't know. Well, we are seeing it. That's when all these weird things start happening, like people vanishing in national parks, walking through some type of wall of distortion that leads them to a level of the earth that they can't come back from. There's only one trick that you can make when it comes to doing that, like that, like that show Sliders, that I liked a lot back in the day when it was on back in the early 90s. There's a lot of true factors to that, but the only thing that you don't know is that it's a one-way trip. You can't come back from that. So anybody that vanishes without a trace, they're not coming back. There's a story about an elderly woman who was on a tractor with her husband. They lived at her mother at their daughter's farmhouse, right? And she was surrounded by this huge cornfield, just like in that movie Field of Dreams, right? And you know that part where the baseball players walked through the cornfield and vanished as they walked into it? Same thing that happened to her. She walked into this field just to go back to the house because it was lunchtime. And between the part where she walked through this cornfield and her direction towards the house, she vanished without a trace. Her husband actually watched her walk into that field to get to the house. But by the time he got back to the house, he realized that she never made it back to the house. So she was searched for days and they never found her. She literally vanished without a trace within that field. So that makes me wonder, is there any truth to that story? I mean, yeah, they colored it up with baseball players and stuff like that, you know, coming back from the dead, and that's the only way they can get from heaven to, or limbo to, you know, what was his name? I can't remember his name. I love that movie. I can't remember his name right now. But we'll just say Kevin Costner. But, you know, I'm just saying, sometimes the truth can be right in front of your face and you won't realize it because they colored it up with a lot of lies to make it sound like it's the truth. Or to make it sound like it's a fairy tale or just a movie or a story in a book. They do that a lot. You know, and these are the people I call the ones in power. They actually control the government, which is the reason why they are always trying to keep things that actually are true secret from us, like UFOs and aliens and time travel. Well, time travel isn't real, and I already explained that. And if I have to explain that again, I will, but on a later date. So, all I'm saying is, if you come across a video about someone who has an experience in a national park or whatever, don't just immediately shut it down just because you don't believe it. You know, you may actually learn something from that. Now, some people will say, I didn't see this, I didn't see that. I think they did, but they were just saying they didn't see it because it was so overwhelming when they actually saw it. They realized that all the time when they thought that this stuff was fake, it was actually real. You know, just like the little orange balls of light that was floating over her dog. They tried to say it was a flower. Really? That was not a freaking flower. Really? I mean, come on now. Or they said it was like an orange bug. That makes no sense whatsoever. Like I said, they look for these cues to make it sound good in their mind so they can go to sleep at night. Because if they don't, they're going to go to sleep. They ain't going to be able to sleep. They're going to be tossing and turning. So, I can't believe I saw that. It's got to be real, but it's not. I know it's real, but it's not real. They just going to be going nuts. Sometimes people can go a little crazy about that stuff. I mean, I don't honestly know that, but I'm just saying. But anyway, let me see if I can pull some more stuff out of this. Okay, now I also said, yes, the sounds are familiar. You are hearing it, but overthinking, self-doubt about something like this is caused by your ego, which I already mentioned, and this program that is put in place for you to believe what they want to be looked at by the populace as reality. They don't want us to believe in nothing but the physical. Anything beyond that would be the non-physical, which is ghosts, UFOs, interdimensional beings who look like aliens, but they're actually just another species of being. We are beings too, but we are human beings because we live in the physical plane. That's the reason why we are called human beings. Okay? They live in a non-physical plane, and they are called just interdimensional beings. Okay, there's different levels to the species of beings that there are that actually were created by the Creator, aka God. Anyway, but we're not going to get into that. This is not a religious show. Anyway, okay, what else? Okay, not physical. Now, anything beyond that would be the non-physical. So the unknown knowledge that should have been recorded into history never was. Which was recorded and labeled was, which is recorded and labeled was folklore, fairy tale, mythology, urban legend, and the paranormal. These labels are misinterpreted on purpose for their benefit, aka the ones in power. That is how they keep the skepticism going, and they have succeeded because of all of the logically thought up questionings on the authenticity of footage such as this, meaning the woman who went to Brown Mountain National Park that I interviewed. Okay. If you see or hear something like this, it would be easy to believe if you didn't doubt was something. If you didn't doubt what someone is. Okay, I was typing real fast, so I kind of interpreted some words. But anyway, the whole point is, okay, wait a minute, I almost lost my place. Someone is showing you, because we will all go through a lot in our cycle, but you have to take everything else in consideration, meaning the paranormal and the unknown all together. What does it all mean? That's a very good question. Well, we have to take all that we do not comprehend into consideration to learn all answers to what is not truly understood. You just have to let it be as it should and not overthink it. The ultimate truth, which is another thing I talk about on my channel. We as humans are so far beyond knowing the cold, hard, ultimate truth that when they finally hear it, they'll never believe it, which is also very true. That is what it all boils down to. It is just that simple. Let me see. Tell me if you agree with that. If you do agree with what I just said, hit me up in the comment section below this video after it's over, and we can discuss it. You can comment on it. You can send me information, whatever the case may be. We can talk about it. I'll give you my ultimate answer, as soon as I see it. I try to answer all of my comments from all of my viewers, and my fans. And, they're all the same. My viewers and my fans are all the same. So anyway, I'm glad I got that off my chest, because I really had to say something about that, because I know a lot of people still do that. They come to my channel, they watched her video, and then they say, oh, this is complete bullshit. I've heard that word a lot. Okay, but like I said, that's the reason why I posted that comment in the comment section, because when you say stuff like that, that's only because you've never even had that experience. You probably have never even been into a national park. I can say that I've never been into a national park before. Okay, and I probably never will, because of what be happening. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't be prepared. The only thing is I don't own a dog, but I do have black clothing. Okay, so would that save me? I don't know. Maybe it will. Of course, and I also don't have a sat phone. I don't have GPS. I think it's what do you call that? I forgot what he called it. It's some type of locator. I forgot the abbreviation for that. But anyway, but the whole point is, let's just try to open our minds so that we can take in what she brought back to the populace. Okay, she was meant to go into that park so she can bring back the truth, because there are so many questions that are being asked. You want to know what happens. So why is it that every single time you listen to the video, or you listen to her, her interview, or you look at the footage, you keep saying this is bullshit? What makes it bullshit? Because you don't believe it, or because you want to stay in your little comfort zone? Some of you may even be religious. I know a lot of people do come to my channel and they speak the word and saying, "Thank you, Jesus. I'm glad she had God on her side," or whatever. Call out the name of Jesus. I'm not saying that she shouldn't do that, but she didn't. The whole point is, like I said, these things have to happen. They really do. So anyway, let's get started on the rest of the show. I'm going to be talking about a woman who disappeared in a national park in North Carolina. Okay, so give me 1 second here. All right, now to start with, this is the headline: body of 53-year-old missing hiker found in National Park Service says. All right, now this one was last updated on October 3rd, 2018, 11:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, now it says right here, authorities have discovered the body of a missing Ohio woman who disappeared while she was hiking at a national park on the North Carolina-Tennessee border. The National Park Service said Tuesday Mitzie Susan Clements, 53, went missing on September 25th during a hike with her daughter in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. Officials reportedly said the cause of death has not been determined at this time. Okay, let's start with that. Now, this is something that every single National Park Service person or law enforcement always say. They can't never find the cause of death when they find these bodies of these people that disappeared in a national park or went missing in a national park. Why is that? I can tell you why. Because whatever happens to these people, something that we are not aware of happens to them to the point where they are being killed without them leaving a mark on their body. Because in the logical thinking mind of a human within this level, you would have to puncture their body in order for them to say that they were killed. Meaning with a knife or a bullet or even a sword. Whatever. Anything that you know that could kill them, it would have to be put into their body from the outside. Or did they put some type of drug down their throat? Why would they go into a national park just to do that? They could do that while they're actually in a cabin. They could break in, tie them down, do all kinds of things to them. They can do a lot of things. There's more than one way to kill a person. But when a person dies without having a cause of death on their body after they're found dead, that is seemingly impossible. That is humanly impossible. Could it be aliens? I don't know. Could it be interdimensional beings that are dark? Maybe. Because anything that goes beyond what a human can do to kill somebody, I would say it goes beyond the realm of understanding or comprehension. I think so. Now, there are beings out there who look at us as delicacies, which is the reason, and I'm going to say it, and I really don't care who may have a problem with that because that's just what I do. The young people that are being disemboweled, organs being taken out of their bodies and then replaced with newspaper, like what happened to Kendrick Johnson. I don't really want to get into that because that's a very touchy subject for a lot of people. I posted a video about that, but I'm just saying, in some cases, when people are found dead without a cause of death, there is something killing them. The question is what? But I can tell you right now, there have been talk, and I did mention this on one of my other videos way back about a older gentleman who talked about this. He said that when it was on it was at the site or in a bunker where they had the UFO that was found in I believe in New Mexico, the Roswell incident. They said that when they went inside the craft, there was a pool of blood. What the heck? Okay. Let's see. Hey,
you would like me to call you that craft? It was a pool of blood.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Okay, see, y'all saw my hands. My hands were nowhere near my phone, and it keeps activating itself.
That craft, it was a pool of blood. What's next?
Nothing. Nothing, Siri. Okay, yeah. I don't know what that's all about. I wasn't touching my phone. My hands were here or down here. You saw my shoulders. It didn't move over to go like that. Okay, but it activated itself. It's like voice activation without having to touch the thumbnail. This is the second time this happened while I've been on my channel. It's very weird. Okay. But anyway. Okay, now where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about the pool of blood thing. Now, he did say that they found a vat of human blood with body parts in it of humans. And there are accounts of them actually feasting on human bodies. They eat humans. We are delicacies to them. That is the reason why most of the people that are found dead have no reason to be dead. Yet they are. Maybe somehow they somehow extract their essence, their inner being from their body, but that's actually pretty impossible, really, to be honest. So a lot of that stuff that you hear, you can't really believe all of it because they make it sound so credible because it's coming from an expert, and I think that's the problem. When experts talk about this stuff, where they're getting it from, I don't know. They may be making it up. They may be just trying to do whatever they can to keep people from getting to know the actual truth on why these people are being found dead. So that is another way of them saying, okay, they'll never find out because we're going to put this out there to make them think that that's the reason why they're being found dead. But yet, if they are devouring human bodies, why are they found dead without a cause of death and fully intact? They're always found partially naked. Okay? Their belongings would still be in the truck, way over there where they parked their car at. Or their clothing is neatly folded on a log with their shoes right next to it. Or the shoes will be missing. Why would they take shoes? Are they going to make it hard? I mean, that does make it hard for them to get away, obviously, because they can't walk on rocks and mud and all kinds of other stuff that may be on the ground. They'll puncture their feet, maybe. Or their feet will just be hurting because the rocks are pushing into the skin and the muscle, or even the bone with all that pressure. I'm just saying. But anyway, let me finish with that. But okay, now Clements' body was found in the national park 2 miles west of the Clements Dome parking area, 3-4 miles south of the Appalachian Trail. Now, this is according to the CBS affiliates at WATE-TV. Now, the Great Smoky Mountain National Park officials said on Twitter that our hearts are with the family and friends of the Clements family, and they thanked everyone that participated in the search. Now, the daughter said, now this is where it really gets weird, because this is an exact account when it comes to the criteria that David Paulides himself be looking for in all these cases, and it hits at home. And I love this part right here. Not because, you know what I mean, because it's telling me that, yeah, something weird has actually gone wrong when they went into this park. And I'm going to read it to you right here. The daughter said that she hiked slightly ahead of her mother, but when she turned around to rejoin her, she was gone. WATE-TV reported earlier. More than 45 different agencies had assisted in the search using K9 units, helicopters, and drones. WATE-TV says rocky terrain and dense vegetation made the search particularly difficult. It takes a lot of people and a lot of time to just comb through that landscape. Park spokesman Julina Campbell said earlier. And that was pretty much it right there. So, but yeah, like I said, that part right there really hit home, because that is a direct criteria when it comes to these people just vanishing without a trace. You know, you go into a national park in a group, you get ahead of them, and the other person disappears. Or sometimes the person that disappeared will get ahead of you. They go around this corner or an embankment, and then when you get up to where they are, they just gone. They just vanished without a trace. How is that possible? There was a story about another woman who was on a trail with a bunch of friends, and they got I think she said that she was going to sit down on a log and drink her water because she was a little tired. They went on ahead. 20 minutes later, they realized that she wasn't behind them. So they went back to see where she was, and she was gone. She was never found. Okay, they looked everywhere in the rough terrain of the area where they was at, where there's a lot of trees and twigs and, you know, just a lot of brush, you know, in a certain area where they never should have been in. That's what they always say every time. This is an area that they never should have even got to, because it was just too thick with a lot of terrain, a lot of rough terrain, and fauna, vegetation, twigs everywhere, maybe some branches that were connected to a bush that didn't have no leaves on it, you name it, they were there. So how is it that she vanished without a trace, and she was riding behind her? And see, this right here will tell you, this is exactly what happened to the woman that went into the national park of North Carolina, you know, the Brown Mountain National Park. She said she was with 3 other friends, a guy and 2 females. The other female chickened out, and she went back down to the cabin with some other people that was in the area where they were looking at the Brown Mountain lights. Okay, so when she was behind her other friends with their dogs, she said that they disappeared when she heard that noise behind her. And when she looked back to see where they were gone. And the crazy part about it was, don't pay that no mind. It's my phone going up. I'm not even going to answer that. But anyway, Her friends said the same exact thing. When they turned around and realized that she wasn't saying anything, because she's told me that they were talking about show tunes. And they realized that she wasn't saying nothing after a while. And they looked behind them and she was gone. Her and her dog. And they said when they looked down to the ground, they saw her footprints and her dog's footprints just stopped dead in their tracks. Like as if something just made them vanish at that point where they just stopped. And that's that moment when she vanished. Okay, somehow, some way, they made it so that they couldn't hear that loud boom. She was the only one that heard it. Okay, so all I know is that she said that she looked back to hear what that noise was, to see maybe something hit the ground. And when she looked back towards her friends, they were gone. And vice versa. They did the same exact thing, except they didn't hear no loud boom. They just looked around and realized that she wasn't there. And I was like, what? And then they probably looking for her like crazy. You know, so when everybody kept saying, why is she calling out to her friends? First of all, like I said, she was like maybe 3 steps behind them. So obviously she would think that they didn't get that far. Okay, she looked for a second and looked back and boom, poof, they were gone. Okay, so naturally she's not going to scream because she would think that they were in the area. Like maybe they got ahead of her, or they ran ahead of her, they went around a corner, or they went through a line of trees. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is she didn't have to yell because she thought that they were right near where she was. You know, so she went later, she would say, Brian. She didn't have to yell out that loud because she thought and she knew that they were that close, but they never answered. So obviously they weren't. But she was she was on another level. And that loud boom was her being transported from where she was to that area. And what they did was they set up this holodeck where everything looked the same way it did before she heard that loud boom. Everything around her was a complete illusion. The sounds that she heard, like the traffic, the people talking in the distance, the sound of a plane flying overhead, the water that shouldn't have been there, but it was. The footbridge that wasn't there when she walked along that trail, you know, but when she went back in the same direction, that's when it was there. Even I saw it. It was right there. I saw her walk on that trail. When she turned around and ran the other way, there it was. I'm just saying. The evidence is right there in front of your face, but you're going to sit there and debunk it? And I'm like, you're looking at it, but see, you don't want to believe it because it is something that goes beyond your own beliefs. Some people may just be very religious, and it doesn't say anything like that in the Bible. I understand that. But these things are real. They are happening. It's just that you are choosing not to believe it because it takes you out of your comfort zone. Now, with her, same thing. Her mother vanished and she got ahead of her. And David Paulides says this all the time. If you're going to be in a group, stay in a tight group. Don't get ahead of no one. Don't fall behind. Her mother fell behind. But that's only because her daughter was young and she's more spritey. So she gets ahead of her a little bit. Not saying that her mom couldn't have kept up, but she was 53 years old for Pete's sake. You know, even though she was, you know, energetic enough to walk a trail or a hike, she was still an elderly woman. So she probably got a little tired fast and she slowed down. And she figured, okay, she could, you know, keep up with her daughter. But somehow she vanished. The question is, what happened to her after that happened? What happened to her for her to not realize, or maybe she realized something was happening to her, but her daughter just didn't see it or hear it. See, that's the part that gets me the most. They are so intelligent. They are so vast in their technology, and most of it is all mental. There's this ability that they have where they can it's called submission, where they can literally make you think something that you wouldn't be thinking. They can put an idea into your mind. They can mess with your head. They can make you see things that they want you to see. So if they don't want her daughter to hear or see her going through something or hear her being taken, they're going to make sure she don't hear it. Now, how they do that, I don't know. They put some sort of hypnotic suggestion in their mind to make them think that they're not hearing anything, but it's just making them go ahead. They block that noise out of their mind. It's loud, but they don't hear it. But the person behind them will hear it. So that's another thing what I've been trying to tell you. It's just like what happened to not Kendrick Johnson, but I keep forgetting that guy's name. So a young guy that disappeared here in Georgia, in Savannah. I be talking about so many people. A lot of times I be forgetting. What's his name? But anyway, it's the young man I told you about that was working with a DOT crew, and he was walking back to the truck with his crew, and all of a sudden, the people in front realized that he was real quiet, and he looked back to see where he was, and he was nowhere to be found. But all they saw was change on the ground and one long boot work boot dangling from a barbed wire fence. Okay? How did that happen? How did he just vanish without a trace, without them hearing him struggle to get away from somebody? Maybe somebody grabbed him by the mouth like this. You would have heard that, right? If you got ears enough to hear. But something that took him caused the sound to not be audible for them to hear. They wanted to make sure they didn't hear him screaming so they could take him and do what it was they wanted to do. Yet, it also said that when they called it in and they searched the area, it was found, I think it was 19 miles or 9 miles away from where the other boot was. It was in a like a swampy area, the other boot. So you got one boot dangling from a barbed wire fence, and within their property, there was another boot found in a swamp on that property in two different places. Why would that happen? How could that happen? They did that to fuck with our heads so that we won't try to figure out why. Because see, when they create a strange situation, there's no way for you to figure it out on how is it that both boots ended up being in separate places. So you start thinking, what could have done it? Maybe they probably would say something like, maybe whoever took him, whoever killed him, wanted to mess with our heads, and then they wanted to make you even more confused because you just can't figure something like that out. Why would that boot be 9 yards away from where the other boot was found? Why would a person do that? Why would a human do that? How can he make a person disappear without a trace, without leaving anything behind? No blood, no nothing. That's humanly impossible. So all I'm saying is, when you have situations like this, like with this woman here, she was walking on the trail, hiking on the trail with her daughter, a young woman. She was probably maybe in her teens, maybe she was in her 20s, early 20s. And she gets ahead of her mom, which is the one thing that you never do. Now see, the people that go through these situations, they never hear about the missing 411 cases. And even if they did hear about it, maybe they say, well, it ain't going to happen to me because I've been doing this all my life. Every single one of them say that, and look what happens. They always disappear. I'm just being honest. If you say that that ain't going to never happen to you because you've been doing it for a long time, so have they. They say it in every single story. These are avid hikers. Okay? Avid hikers that still disappear without a trace. Some of them are found dead with a bullet hole in their head. And then the gun alone is broken into 1,000 pieces. Once again, physically and humanly impossible. How is it that a young guy like that gets a gun taken from him and then they shoot him point blank in the head? There are creatures and there are other species of being that have the thinking capabilities of a human. So they know how to they know how to fuck with your head because they think like us. You know that book by Steve Harvey, Act Like a Woman But Think Like a Man? Same difference. Act like a species of being or species of creature but think like a human. Same difference. And that's exactly what they do. They think like humans, so they know how to get around, our way of thinking. And the way to do that is to confuse the hell out of you by creating these crazy scenes that make no sense to you, to where you can't figure it out. They got cases where these people disappeared that's been going on for like 30 years, and they still can't figure out. Like Stacey Harris, they still to this day can't figure out how is that young woman disappeared, and how is it that her footage has never been found. Okay, now I have talked about my own little crazy theories, like say she was walking along that what do you call it, boulder field. It was a line of trees surrounding a lake, and there was an open pathway within that tree line. And so she goes in there, she sees something that she just had to get a picture of, because you never know, she might want to look at it later, because it's an amazing thing that she saw. The question is, what did she see for her footage to just disappear, let alone her? I'm thinking that maybe she met with a invisible wormhole that sucked her into it, transporting her to another level. And maybe she had her hand on her camera, and she got sucked into this wormhole so hard that she dropped the camera. Now, let's just say that did happen. The Park Service is looking for her. They don't find her, but they find the camera with the film still in it. And they realized that she may have seen something that she wasn't supposed to see. They don't want nobody to know about what's. They don't want anyone to know what's actually going on in these national parks. So what do? They confiscate the film and the camera, leaving behind only the lens cap to fuck with your head even more, to confuse you. They said it. That's all they found was the lens cap to her camera. Why? Who knows? But I do know something weird did happen. Okay? Something weird did happen. And it's something that most humans cannot comprehend. Now, you can come up with every theory that you can all day long that isn't logical. 9 times out of 10, what you just came up with could be what actually happened. And when you hear about this stuff, see, I'm a 3-dimensional thinker. I've always been a 3-dimensional thinker. I look at one scenario, but I look at every other option that could cause that one thing to happen. And sometimes it goes beyond logical thinking. Well, not sometimes. It always does. Because if it's a weird situation, you need a weird answer to solve a weird question. You cannot solve something that weird with a logical answer. You just cannot do that. That is impossible. It cannot be done. I don't care what you say. Okay? Like I told you before, you have your own right to your own opinions. I understand it. And I will never get in the way of that. That is not what I'm here to do. But you still have to open up your mind to something more than the logical. You have to. Even if you don't want to. You just have to do it. People say, maybe it was Dog Man, or maybe it was this, maybe it was that. You know, but you have to not just say it to make it sound like a theory. You have to say it because it's actually true. I only say what I say because I know it's true. My theories are actually fact. I believe that. I've always have. I just don't say it because I don't want to lose the credibility of my viewers. You know, the ones that like my channel, but then they say maybe it was a serial killer in the national park. When have you ever heard of a serial killer in the national park that was actually caught? Think about it. How many times are you going to say that and realize that that's not a part of the reason why they disappeared? People have been saying that for decades. They keep saying it was a serial killer in the national park. But if that was the case, then somebody would have been found out by now and they would have been arrested for that. But they never have. Never. Just like the one story about this little boy I heard about. He was in a trailer home or a cabin. I think it was a trailer home because it was one of those trailer homes that was attached to their vehicle or whatever. The daughter and the son. The son was the youngest one. The daughter was like, I think, 9 years old. The son was like maybe 4 or 5. He was asleep, and the cat was asleep, and so was the daughter. The parents was outside, you know, just enjoying nature and enjoying the scenery. All of a sudden, they hear a loud scream. They go sprinting back to the cabin or to the trailer home. And they were met with only their daughter, who was still asleep, and the cat, who was still asleep. But the son was not there. Obviously, they heard the son screaming. Now, they saw that the trailer home door was open. But their son was nowhere to be found. He was never found. Now, can you explain how that happened? Now, I'm not going to say that maybe he was taken by an unknown assailant. But if that boy screamed at the top of his lungs and the sister didn't wake up, let me tell you, there is a such thing as being in a sound sleep to where you can't wake up. But if you scream that loud and you're actually within the vicinity of your own sister and the cat, and nobody heard it, that's impossible. You can't do that. I have screamed in my home because of a dream I may have had or something that scared me, and my mom heard it, and she was in a sound sleep. She was just trying to figure out what the heck was going on. I wasn't a young boy. I was a grown man, but I was just living with my mom at the time if I got my first apartment. So I'm saying that to say this. That's impossible. That can't happen. With that being said, when strange things like that happen and you still try to logicalize it, and then all of a sudden you realize after 20 years, nobody still can figure out how that little boy disappeared. Think about it. Is what you said really a fact? Or is it because something strange that can't be explained happened? The question is, what was that unexplained event that happened? Can you describe it? Can you give it a label? But see, that's the problem. You give something a label, you'll never figure it out because it may be a label that is still untrue to the actual fact. You just call it what it is. That's all you have to do. Call it exactly what it is. If the boy disappeared in that cabin without even waking up his sister or the cat, something, and I do mean something, grabbed him and took him away. But they probably had the ability to make the child and the cat not hear what was actually supposed to be heard. They somehow blocked the sound of him screaming out of their ears or out of their mind or whatever for them to register what just happened. Because I'm pretty sure when they woke, they say, we didn't hear anything. We didn't hear him scream or anything. They heard it, but they didn't hear it. Here's the thing. They wanted to make sure that the people that should have heard it didn't hear it. So when they come back after hearing the boy scream, they're going to be like, what happened? What happened? What do you mean what happened? I don't know. I didn't hear anything. But we heard him scream. We didn't hear nothing. So there goes that confusion. There goes the messing with our head part. Making you basically discount everything that you heard because they didn't hear it. Now, you also look at how parents look at their children. They say they have an overactive imagination. They say they be hearing things or they be making stuff up. You heard that little boy scream, but all of a sudden, when you talk to your daughter, she says she didn't hear a word. That's why she was asleep. That's why she was asleep. Still asleep, that is. Because she didn't hear anything. So for you to say that, oh, they were just hearing things, yet they didn't hear anything. How else can you, put that? There's no other way to look at that. You have to open your mind to the unexplainable. You have to open up your mind to the unknown. You have to open up your mind to the non-physical. Okay? Obviously, we are dealing with very intelligent interdimensional beings or a different species of creature or being who actually think like humans. How do you think that Bigfoot is able to survive all these centuries? I mean, Bigfoot has gone back all the way to like the caveman days from what I hear. Okay? And they've been able to survive all these decades. Now, I've also heard that they were placed here from another level. They basically were able to thrive and survive within the physical plane without ever being caught because they have the ability, from what I hear, to cloak themselves, to make themselves invisible, or to put thoughts in their head to make you think that they're not standing right in front of you behind a bunch of trees. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure they have that ability. I'm pretty sure they think just like a human. That's why they're able to live like mountain men. You know that TV show about mountain men where they live off the land instead of living within civilization. I mean, go through all that stuff like trying to stay warm, try to stay alive, try to survive with food, and try to make sure that they get their stuff together before the fall of the year sets in and it starts snowing because most of them live in the mountains, like I said. So, and then you got Survivor Man. And he got Survivor Man Bigfoot. You know, the guy that was doing the show with him had all this incredible footage of a Bigfoot right in front of him behind some leaves. And you can clearly see that Bigfoot's face. Now, everybody who talked about a Bigfoot said that it's probably just some guy in a gorilla costume. Okay, now that really famous footage that aired back in like maybe the 50s and 60s of that Bigfoot walking along a trail where there's some down trees, like an open area, and it walks right into the forest. You literally see breasts flopping up and down on that Bigfoot. No gorilla suit has that. A gorilla suit is just a black hairy costume with a leathery looking front without breasts. I mean, it has a chest, not breasts that's dangling down, but them breasts was flopping as it was moving because it is one of them things where they, you know, when they say Bigfoot move, they move like this here. Their upper torso just goes from side to side like this. So them breasts are gonna be going like this, flopping all over the place, and they were doing that. You can't fake that on a gorilla costume unless they deliberately put breasts on there and make it look like it's coming from a gorilla costume, which I know that's not what it was. Because Bigfoot does not look like a gorilla in the face. I know what a gorilla looks like, and it don't look like that. Okay? So, I've even seen one blank. I mean, the video that guy had on Survivor Bigfoot. So, with that being said, that's my view on all of this, my friends. So, when I leave you today, I really, really, really hope that you will open up your mind and realize that everything that you try to debunk, everything you try to say isn't real, or possibly isn't real, or saying that this woman is a complete nutball, she making her dog go crazy and this and that, the other, she's not even screaming out for her friend, she didn't call 911, she didn't do none of that stuff. First of all, you got to realize, if you in a national park in the middle of nowhere, you ain't going to have no reception. That's why they have sat phones. Or did you remember that? Okay? It's some sort of, and like I said, if she had a transponder, she would have been even better. But she didn't have one. She had a bunch of external batteries for her cell phone, and she had an iPhone, mind you. You know, I only have the battery that comes with, well, you know, the computer chip that comes with my phone. I don't have external batteries for my cell phone. And I have an iPhone too. I got the 8 Plus. See? Got it. But anyway, like I said, what she went through is completely real. I believe that to a fault. Anyone that says different, that's your opinion, and I respect that. But you got to realize that there are strange things going on out there. Yeah, people look for evidence. They look for sharp evidence. Where they say, next time you have a video like that, you have to make sure that you have some very sharp images. Okay, first of all, you got to realize something else too. When you are in a situation like that and you see something like this, you ain't got time to be messing with the doggone sharpness of the video to get it looking like that. If you're moving and you see something, you either gonna stop or you're gonna keep going, so whatever it is won't catch up to you, because you may get scared that it's gonna come up to you and try to kidnap you and make you disappear like all the rest of these people, especially if you hear about what's going on in these national parks and you know you're in one. So you ain't got time to set up a strobe light and a camera crew and all this other bull crap to make it look more sharper so they can be something that you can actually look at. If you seeing something like that, it's going to be a blurred image, just like that image of that Bigfoot, that not Bigfoot, but that werewolf that was walking along the street at night, being caught on camera by a CCTV camera. Okay, that was a blurred image, but you saw the full body of this thing. Now, most people will probably try to say, well, that was a adopted photo, and that's just something they put up there. How do you know that? It could be real. It could not be real too. But the fact of the matter is, the government and the ones in power put fake news out there. That's why they talked about it on the news all the time, talking about fake news. You want to know why? Because they don't want anyone to get any closer to the truth than they already are. So they put this crap in your head about fake news. People that put stuff out there to make you think that it's real, but it really isn't. First of all, they're the ones that's doing that. They just don't want you to know that. They're the ones that caused all of this in the first place. And I talked about this before. That these people, the ones in power, they are the ones that started all this in the first place with the Greada Treaty. If you never heard about it, it is a form, a contract, an agreement that they put together to work along with the Greys. You give us something, we give you something. They wanted technology so that they can take over the world, or have more control over the world, and they gave it to them. But they only gave them enough to a certain extent, because they wanted full power over everything. But they didn't do that, because they can easily take it back just as much as they gave it to them. They only gave them half of the technology. Everything that they claim that they can do is a complete lie, like saying they have the ability to time travel. Time travel isn't real, people. And if I talked about it before, I'll talk about it again. First of all, if you talk about time travel, it could never be done, because you'll be taking yourself out of your own existence. That's like the grandfather theory, but you're the grandfather. You take yourself out of this moment right here, this existence, right here, right now, to go forward in time or backwards in time. You would literally cease to exist. You're taking yourself out of your own moment, out of your own life cycle. That's just like killing yourself with some kind of serum or whatever. It can't be done. Because think about it. The past, present, and future exists all in one moment. The future is whatever's going to happen after this video ends. I don't know what's going to happen because it hasn't happened yet. I haven't done anything to make it happen yet. The most that's going to happen is that after this video is over, I'm going to get back on my computer and start typing, stuff for my novel. Or I'm going to be watching TV. I'm going to be eating something. That's about as far as I can get. I don't know what's going to happen after that. Each step that we take creates a future for us. Now, as far as the past, all we got to do is reminisce or think about what happened before this video, or look behind you to see your progress, or look at past images or videos of you doing something. That's the past. The present is right here, right now. You listening to me on this video. Okay? I'm just saying, now if it was a live stream, that'd be different. But after I post it, that will be the present for you. Right now, it's the present for me because I'm actually making the video. So, I'm just saying. If it is starting to gel, I am glad. If it ain't, if you want to ask some more questions, feel free. Hit me up in the comment section below or send me an email about something. I will gladly inform you of more information. Because I can tell you, I know a lot more than you may think. Okay? I can get pretty deep like that because I meditate a lot. And the things that I end up knowing will blow your freaking mind. Like, for instance, the government never went into space. Never been on the moon. There aren't any structures on the backside of the moon. It is just a moon itself. As a matter of fact, what they think is actually space is actually a dark layer above the layer that they call the stratosphere. It's just another layer of the atmosphere, but it's actually very dark. So most of them that think they're in space, they're really actually within the atmosphere. Even the astronauts, like Armstrong or whatever his name is. Okay, I was trying to say Louis Armstrong, but that's the same company anyway. But yeah, so if you don't believe me, that's fine. If you do, oh well. You know, there's even talk about this dome that's actually covering the planet. They try to say that they're the ones that's doing it, and it's some sort of like metal, like grid, like bar thing that's covering the entire planet, which is a complete lie. And they're not the ones that did it. The interdimensional beings that saw the atom bomb drop in the desert did it because they saw how destructive humans were, especially the government portion of the human race. And they don't want them to be going outside of the atmosphere, bringing that kind of destructive ability to other planets or other civilizations beyond our solar system. Okay? They don't want that. That's the reason why they never even made it outside of the atmosphere. Now they have probes or satellites. Think about it. They talk about it all the time. But have you actually seen one? You've seen the prototypes that they built to make it look like they actually put one up there. But have you actually seen it with your own two eyes? No, you've only seen it on TV. And that is the problem, people. What we know about as far as what they want us to know, we only seen on TV, in a book, in a magazine, and not with our own two eyes. Here's another example. They talk about Jupiter all the time, saying about the big red spot and how it's been active for the past 300 years. And probably longer than that because we only can go back so far, right? Okay, think about this, my friends. I have a high-powered telescope. It's very powerful. Whenever I know there's a planet in the sky, I look at it. Like Jupiter or Venus or Mars. Okay? Now, with Jupiter being a gas ball planet and it's very large, you can see it very clearly through a high-powered telescope. And the part that got me the most was the fact that Jupiter doesn't have just one big red spot. It has two. Yeah, that's right. I said it. It has two red spots. I saw it with my own two eyes. Yes, I know I had to squint. I had to keep looking until I realized that's what I was looking at. Because I was like, wait a minute. I know I didn't just see that. And I looked again. I kept looking. And I kept making sure it was, clear. I took my glasses off just so I can get a good look, through the lens. And I literally saw it. I saw two red spots on Jupiter's surface. Well, surface of the atmosphere. Okay? Two red spots. Okay? Because you can actually see the red spot even from this distance. When you're looking through a high-powered telescope, it just looks like a tiny little dot, with a ring, around the planet. Like it's kind of looks like a belt. You have the red spot, and then you have this it looks like a band that stretches out from the sides of it and goes around the planet. But when I looked below it, it was the same exact thing. Another spot. Two red spots. Now put that in your pipe and smoke it. Can you believe me? Maybe. But if you have a high-powered telescope and Jupiter is in the sky, what I want you to do is go outside. If you wear glasses, take them off and look real hard at the surface of the atmosphere. and try to see if you can actually see two dots, one above the other. And that one dot will be the red spot. And you see another dot below it, that's another red spot. Now, I could be wrong. It could be something else. I don't know. But it looked like a red spot. Well, it looked like just another spot directly below the red spot that they claim that Jupiter has. Because that's another thing, too. The planets that we actually only see on TV, if we're not looking at these planets with our very own two eyes, through our own high-powered telescopes, we're not going to know what they actually look like. We only see what they want you to see on TV. Like How the Universe Works. I stopped watching that show a long time ago because of the things I found out. And I loved that show. I watched it faithfully for the past 4 or 5 years. Okay? And now that I know a lot more and seeing how they promote the information about these planets on there, I don't want to watch that show no more. I really don't. Because think about it. I just found out that Jupiter has 2 red spots. But yet, they've been telling us for years that Jupiter only has 1 red spot. I mean, what's up with that? Really? You can't tell us the truth? Why is it so important for you to keep the fact that Jupiter has 2 red spots instead of just 1 from us? That makes no sense. But you want to tell us that there's, you want to make it seem like information about there being structures on the back of the moon get leaked out. It was never leaked. It was made up. And all these images of the planets, like Pluto, how they sharpened it up, saying that they had to make sure they got all the pics back from these images that were sent from the probe that was circling, Pluto, and then so they can make it, look more clearer and more sharper and pretty and all this stuff. Think about this also. The government, the ones in power, had the technology for CGI long before we had it. Civilization, civilians. Like scientists that don't work for the government and all that stuff. They had this technology way before we did. Way before we did. Because think about it. When we heard about all this stuff, where did we hear it from? The government. Scientists that work for NASA. All that shit. They had all this before we did. So think about this, people. Obviously, they have the ability to color shit up so it'll look nice and pretty for us to look at. Now, I know that there's video footage of the motion of Jupiter's atmosphere, where the clouds go in 5 to 10 different directions. You got clouds going in this direction because they say the wind factor is so strong that it literally rips the clouds apart to the point where they're traveling in 10 different directions all at once. You got clouds flowing in this direction, clouds flowing in that direction, and then you got clouds flowing around the big red spot, and it doesn't even look like a cloud. It looks like smoky vapor. Okay, for instance, think about the movable images on your iPhone. Where you can actually have a video of something that actually moves on the view screen, like say on the lock screen, and like if you tap it hard and hold it, you start seeing smoke just kind of moving like how clouds do in the sky. It looks like that. That's what it looks like. So think about it. If you can put that kind of image on a phone, yeah, it looks exactly how it does on Jupiter. Don't you think that all that stuff is fake? Think about it. Use your brains, people. Not saying that you don't, but I'm just saying. Think about it. Really think about it. Everything that our government is telling us is a complete freaking lie. And if you think I'm going nuts, I don't care. If you think that I'm acting like I know everything, I don't care. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know everything. I don't want to be looked at as someone that knows everything. I am a person who is a truth seeker and a knowledge seeker. I want to give you the truth. Now, the question is, will you believe it? If you have an open mind enough to actually believe what I'm saying and really think about what I just told you, and you start to realize some things that make a lot of sense, then you'll know that I'm not crazy. I'm just a person that's very eccentric. Okay, yes, I'd be a little slight, a little lively on my channel. That's what I like to bring. But I want you to see the real me. I don't want to be some person behind a camera, but you ain't seeing my face. You only seeing the screen. That's not what I do. There are plenty of people that do that, like my boy Tyler from Secure Team 10. I love his channel, so I'm not knocking him for anything in a negative way. I love his channel. beyond anything, because he was like really the first person I actually started looking at on YouTube, and then that made me want to do my own channel. Not about what he was doing, but I'm just saying, you know. So I love everything because when he came out with this one video about a son and a father who was traveling on the road in the evening, I think it was in Minnesota or Michigan, I believe, I'm not sure. They actually caught an image of a huge alien craft above their head that looked like a moth. It was shaped like a moth. And you can see the lights coming out of it, and these little grids that look like flaps with light shooting, reflecting off of it. You know, like those flaps that be on the back of like F-14s and stuff like. The ones that kind of open up to make the thrust come out even harder. It kind of reminded me of that. Like those were the thrusters. And it was very detailed. And you literally saw this thing move off into the distance and disappear over the horizon. And they had a very good shot of it, a very clear shot. So I understand when people say you need to get some better footage, it's more sharper or whatever. But if you ain't got time to mess with the camera to do that, you're gonna get some blurry images. But if it's that close, you're gonna see it. It's gonna be looking detailed. It's just not gonna be looking real sharp, like as if you gotta clean it up. You know, it happens. That's just the way things work. Okay, I've seen a lot of UFOs. I saw a reddish orange orb for the very first time in my life. Okay, I was traveling on the road and bam, there it was above the tree line. And I wanted so bad to stop, but I had somewhere I had to go. I could have easily got my phone out and recorded it and would have been very happy. But when I looked at it as I was driving, I literally saw this thing go from a reddish orange color to white. But the way it looked, it's like someone had some fluorescent milk in a jug and just poured it on top of it, and you can see it stream down off the edges, off the side, and it's like it just flowed down in these little like fingerlets, you know, and it just went down, and the whole thing just turned white from there. I literally saw that with my own two eyes, because so all those videos about reddish orange orbs in the sky are actually real, because I saw it with my own two eyes, and I was amazed by that. I was like, wow, it blew my mind. It actually was true. So all the stuff about fake news and all these UFO images you see on YouTube, and they try to debunk it, try to say, oh, it's fake. The only thing I saw that was, well, I saw a lot of images or a lot of videos that was fake on YouTube when it comes to UFOs. There's this one, and I talked about this before, of these UFOs flying over a street, just shooting all over the sky. But when you look at it, it literally does look fake. You just got to realize what's fake and what's real. You know, and if you can do that, you'll realize that CGI and realistic videos are completely different. Some people just got to be able to tell the difference between the two. Now, a lot of people can't do that, so people start to say, "Oh, it's real." Just like this darn video about a woman who had a husband who's supposed to been dead since 2012, but yet she's trying to say that he was a time traveler in her home. He was asleep. I think he was asleep in the bathtub or some crap like that. Now, and it was all because of a 911 call. Okay? That 911 call was so fucking fake. You could tell they were reading the script, or they were just trying to act it out. You know, they were trying to make it sound like it was believable by not using the script. They just wanted to make shit up as they were going along. It was just completely fake. So that right there was fake news. And if you look for, all you got to do is type in woman whose husband was a time traveler or whatever. You'll see it'll have like a silhouette of a house, you know, on the thumbnail. And then there's two of them. There's a guy in sunglasses and a cap and one of these microphones supposedly talking to this woman on the phone. But when you listen to the 911 call, you say, yeah, well, I mean, there's somebody in my house, but no, I don't know where he is. No, but yeah, I was going to go downstairs and find out what's going on. That's how she was talking. And the guy looked like okay, and another thing too, when you're talking to a 911 operator, he's not going to be talking to someone behind him saying, oh yeah, she's at the house, and they're on their way. Yeah, they're on their way. They're almost there. They don't do that. I call 911. They only talk to you. So that makes no sense. That does not happen. So that person never called 911 before ever in their life. Or they never watched Cops or any other show where you hear the 911 caller in the background. Even on the news, you hear 911 callers, and they only talk to the person that called them. They don't talk to someone behind them. You know, they don't do that. That just does not happen. So that alone, I knew right away it was fake. So that's fake news, people. You still have to realize what's fake news or what ain't fake news, and what was real. That's just all part of the game. And once we all figure all that stuff out, the government ain't gonna be able to say shit to us. Now, I told you guys once before that there was a black SUV parked outside my house while I was at work. I found out from somebody. It only happened that one night. By the time I got home, they was already gone. You know, I'm thinking that maybe my house was going to be ransacked, my computer was going to be gone, or every video I had on here was going to be deleted. And I actually thought that actually happened because I couldn't pull it up on my phone. And I actually literally freaked out. I was like, oh shit, they actually took away my darn videos, because I heard that YouTube was doing that too with a lot of people, shutting them down because their videos got a little too racy and a little too close to the truth. But I'm obviously not a threat, because they thrive on skepticism, because they know they're not going to believe it. They don't care. They really don't. That's why they do that, the stuff that they do. They don't care. But anyway, guys, I really got to get off here because, you know, I got to go to work tomorrow, and I want to try and enjoy the rest of my night. I got to still get some more stuff down on my computer, you know, for my novel and everything. I'm still working on it, and I want to, you know, kind of just chill out for the rest of the night. So, but I did want to get this video out here because I wanted to make sure I got this on here as much as, you know, as fast as possible, you know. But, you know, I'm dealing with stuff, you know. My daughter's homecoming is coming up. Well, she was invited to homecoming, so I gotta focus on that. You know, her mom just texted me a few minutes ago. That's what that ding was. Or ping or whatever, but anyway, but yeah, so I'm glad I was able to get this video out here, and I hope you guys like it. And it's an hour-long video, and I know you guys love that too. You love hearing me rant about stuff. But yeah, so I'm gonna get out of here so you guys can enjoy the visual capabilities of this video, and I'm going to leave you with what I always leave you with. But first, I want to find a very good quote for you, my people. Very good quote. This is, you know, pretty deep. I got to go through my favorites area because, you know, I got a lot of videos on here that make a lot of sense. You know, but I got a lot of quotes on here that make a lot of sense too. I got to find the right one. It ain't going to take long, I hope. Okay, let me see. No, not that one. Not that one. Let me see. I want to find one that's deep, but not too deep. Okay. Let me see. No. I want one of those. Oh! Here we go. This one is about the crystal skulls. I had a revelation about that one time before. Here's what it says. But first, this is what I'm talking about right here. You probably can't see it, but that's my quote. Okay, and these are my words, just so you know. Radically mysterious stories about mystical objects such as the crystal skulls were actually created to just exist as a mystery, which would be their point of birth. They also were not created by any one being, human or non-alike. They simply just appeared into existence at whatever time in the distant past. These crystal skulls were created by the Creator. Okay, there are a lot of things on this planet that were just created to just exist, you know, but were never meant to be found out about or to like find out where they came from, because it would be a long time. And the one thing I realized, if you start looking for something that you want to find out about, you will never find it. But the ones that aren't looking for it are the ones that will actually find out about it. Ain't that weird? I mean, that's part of the balance. You know, everything has to have a positive and a negative, but they all are working together for one single purpose. I'm just saying. But yeah, the crystal skulls were literally created to just exist. And I mean just exist. So when they were created, they just literally appeared out of nowhere into existence. They don't have an origin point. Because think about it. Everyone who talks about those crystal skulls try to figure out how were they created. Were they created with some type of laser-like technology? Were they carved somehow? No, they weren't. They were just created. It's just that simple. Now, big question is how or who or why. They were created by the Creator, aka God. He created them just to be here. Now, yeah, okay, people found them, and they said, I think there's like a total of like 7 or 12 of them. It kind of reminds me of the Dragon Balls. You know, how they scattered all over the world, and people find them and come together. And they say that when they do find them, they actually have like an energy coming out of them, like some kind of energy source. And you know, they actually hold like information. How they get it out of there, I don't know. But they were created to just exist. And they're very mysterious and very ominous looking. You know, we're talking about skulls here. You know, it's just like holding up a skull, you know, like poor Uric, I knew him well kind of thing. But they made out of crystal, pure crystal. Okay? They were just created. Now, the creator can make anything out of nothing. That's how all of this was created. The earth alone was created out of nothing. That was just floating around in space. Okay? It wasn't no Big Bang, none of that crap. Everything was already in place for everything to be created. Rocks and heat and all that stuff. It's like someone had a bunch of heat in the area and they took these two big bowls and compressed the heat into this bowl. Or they just used a bunch of rocks and everything. They molded them together to make the earth. But I'm saying the creator is a very, very artistic person. Okay, he created all of this out of nothing, or stuff that was just floating around in space. Not trying to get religious, but I'm just, you know, I have a firm belief in the creator. I have a firm belief in a lot of things because I'm more spiritual than anything. I love to meditate. I love to find out information by not looking in places that people would expect you to look into, like the Bible. You know, I'm not saying that it ain't real. I'm not saying that it is real. I'm just saying. Okay, I read the Bible. Some of it don't make any sense, but I'm not going to get into that. That's too much. I'm not trying to get into a religious battle or whatever, you know. But all I'm saying is there's a lot more to everything than we actually know. Okay, I can tell you a lot of stuff that won't make any sense to you, and you won't believe it. You probably think I'm crazy, but I don't care. Okay, a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I make a lot of sense though when they really think about it. People came back at me and they said, you know, I thought about it. They said, you know, you got a point. I've had a lot of people tell me that. Oops. Gotta be careful with that. I don't want to break nothing. I just bought this darn thing. But anyway. But yeah, so let me get out of here, guys. I know you guys want to hear what I got to say, and I guarantee you're going to love it. It's going to open up your mind. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to do whatever. But that's what I'm here to do. Blow your mind and open up your mind at the same time. So without further ado, I just want to say, like I always do at the end of every... I can never say that. At the end of every video, aloha, shaka, mahalo, shaka again, and hui ho, which means till we meet again in Hawaiian. So just so you know. Well, oh, by the way, go to Hawaii, man. I love that place. You got to get there at least just once. If you've been there, I hope you had a good time because I know I did. Anyway, I will see you guys on the flip side. Peace out.